All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's
Hold on one second. Can you hit the, okay, thank you.
it's 8:30. I call this Sawyer County Zoning Committee meeting to order. I request that all cell phones be silenced along with other electronic devices out of respect for the committee and the public. And no signs prohibiting members and public approaching the committee table. If you have an information to share with the committee, please fill it out, appearance slip, and put them in the tray on the information table. There will be somebody there to pick it up. So we are called to order. Kathy, can we do roll call, please?
Ron Buckholz.
Present.
Tweet Schuman.
Here.
Kay Wilson. Dale Magnuson.
Here.
Marshall Savitsky. Absent.
He's absent.
Steve Karianen.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, statement of committee and hearing procedure and statement of hearing notice. The full statement of committee and hearing procedure documents, including directions for the individuals wishing to speak at the public hearing to be conducted at this zoning committee meeting, are available on the information table in the back of the room next to the agenda for today's meeting. The statement of committee and hearing procedure document is hereby incorporated into the record and at this committee meeting. Any public hearing conducted at today's committee hearing has been published as a Class 2 notice in accordance with Chapter 985 of the Wisconsin statutes in the Sawyer County Record and published in the Sawyer County Gazette on July 30th and August 6th, 2025. All right. The next is approval of the September 19th, 2025 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson
I'll second it, Chairman.
and a second by Mr. Schuman to approve the September 19th, 2025 minutes. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries to approve. All right. Number E, public comment. I'm not gonna read the whole spiel on the public comment. Everybody pretty much know. And we just want to keep it to a minimum of 3 minutes if you can. So first up, we have Dave. Yep, come up there, state your name and address, please.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. My name's Dave Tochek. Residence is 11035 West Arrow Road. I am not a full-time resident. I do visit frequently, though. Give me 1 second here, please. Okay. So a couple years back, there was a zoning ordinance 17, I think it starts at 17.0, where the county changed the definition of resort to the exact verbiage of 2 or more dwelling units. So I need to backtrack a little bit. In 2019, I rented a cabin. I was permitted by Sawyer County to rent this cabin. And then let me further establish that on this property, there are 2 dwelling units. I have 1 acre and 2 dwelling units. These dwelling units combined are 750 square feet. One is basically 300 square feet. One is 450. If you take the 2 cabins combined, they do not equal the size of one standard home. Okay, so I was permitted to rent one in 2019. That went so well. During COVID, I rebuilt the other cabin and was able to rent that out during COVID up until 2021. So there was a motion to change the definition of resort. It was brought to the board. That motion failed. Later on, in 21, that motion was appealed and it passed by the county and then was denied. So in a matter of a couple years, I was able to rent one cabin, built another one. The other one that I built, I took out a loan in good faith that I was going to be able to pay it back by renting both cabins while we were not residing here at the time. And then, here it is a couple years later, it's taken away from me. While all this is going on, it was two public town officials. One was the tax assessor for surrounding areas, and the other was the chairman of the town of Hunter. The chairman of town of Hunter is also affiliated with Russ Carpentry. We hired Russ Carpentry to fix that first cabin in 2017. That business deal did not go well. It did not end well. We did not end in good standing with each other. And I just find it odd that the town chairperson and the tax assessor were able to collaborate together, come into the county, change the definition of resort to two or more, and then all of a sudden, Dave and Rachel can't rent their cabins anymore, and I'm stuck with a loan, a six-figure loan that I took out on this beautiful little cabin that we decided to rebuild. And I'd also like to state that this property has been in my family for 50 years, okay? It was willed to me by my dad, who passed away in 2021. And the deal that I made with him was that I would keep it in the family forever. If I was a greedy little son, I could have just sold the place, take the money and ran away with it. It's not about the money, guys. It really isn't.
Sir, I'm not sure this is the place right now that you want to be telling this. I think you need to go back to the zoning.
And he has, and ultimately, I mean, this is part of a circuit court decision. And
Okay.
I've had extensive conversations with certainly the previous county administrator, and even to extent this county zoning or this county administrator and legal counsel. But I mean, circuit court is kind of your next step. I mean, that was a judgment from circuit court that made the decision of rental of two dwelling units as constituted as a resort.
I understand. I'm here to make a public statement before I proceed to do that, and that's fine. I mean, whatever I need to do in order to achieve that. Say again?
We also know that other people come permanent,
Oh, right. Yeah, well,
not to name names.
right. There's, other places that still have been able to continue to rent with the same condition, except for us.
Because we live next to the tax assessor.
Yeah, we just happen to be the lucky ones that wound up living next door to this individual. And it has been nothing short of, it's been tough. I could tell you that. Constantly being watched and monitored, which is fine because I've done everything in this county, in this township by the books. And I think that's what hurts the most is I did everything right where I could have been, under the table. I could have rented. I could have not abided by the law, but I decided to do everything properly. And then all this got stripped away from me. And I'm in fear that, this is property that was given to me, of not being able to continue to own this place because, I'm a single income family, disabled veteran, that took a loan out on this, relying on the county and the law at the time. And what I would like to see is this just be grandfathered in. Why can't I be left alone? Why can't I do business the way that I used to?
It was a resort way back in the day.
Well, I mean, I have to cut you off here now on this.
That's
I mean, I thank you for your service, for
Yes,
one
sir.
thing, and I thank you for your input here. But like what Jay says, you gotta go the other way.
And if you want to set up a meeting with county administrator, myself, even the zoning committee chair and or legal counsel, and we can again, go through the specifics of this, but that circuit court judgment is what's preventing this at this point.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for giving me time to allow
No,
to
not a
speak
problem.
to the county and I appreciate all y'all's time.
Okay. All right, next on public comment, Linda Zomer.
Good morning, Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner. And the first public comment is really kind of a good setup to the public comment I would like to make in an email that I sent to you all this morning that includes some example job descriptions from Washburn County. And it asks maybe that this committee hold a special meeting to just address all the administrative matters that have been coming up recently. With holding public hearings and going through all that, you really don't have the energy or time to devote to discussing other matters that are more general and that could help make things go more smoothly. I was present at the zoning committee meeting back, and I have a little bit different memory than the first speaker in that without being provided information about zoning ordinances or anything else, at the end of a very long public hearing day, the zoning committee members at that time were asked to interpret the zoning ordinance language that is still there today. It was not changed. It was, the zoning committee members were asked informally, do you think a resort is more than one, two or more, or maybe three or more? And then based on just a last minute response from the zoning committee, I believe the applicants were given some interpretation that they relied on. And then as that went forward, then the matter was heard by the Board of Adjustment, and that's a whole other legal matter. But I don't believe that the county ever changed the zoning ordinance. It was an interpretation issue, which is a common theme going to last month, where at the end of the zoning committee hearing, the committees were asked if park models could be put in mobile home parks. And again, the committee was not provided any information. So that was interesting. I can't believe that it's a coincidence that what I watched last month was almost a repeat of what had happened years ago with the question on a resort. And the MDD ad hoc committee has been wrestling. I mean, that's part of the reason that the county's looking at multi-dwelling development ad hoc again, and looking at those zoning ordinance amendments. So I think until the zoning committee and the administrator understand their separate roles in the bylaws and address administrative matters, things like this will continue to affect residents, property owners, and also your time and taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thanks.
Rebecca has her hand up. I don't know if you want to make additional comment right now, Rebecca.
I do, and I do not like to respond to public comments, but again, this is a matter of making the record. And I would just like the record to reflect that the last public comment is legally incorrect. And Jay, you were correct that we have a court order that is binding, and there are significant other legal issues at play here. And so if this is a matter that continues forward by the current property owner, we can certainly discuss those. But again, I just want this record to reflect that the last comments are incorrect, and that there is binding law that the county must follow at this point in time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment? Anyone online wishing to make public comment? Seeing no hands raised or hearing no one online, we have no rezone applications. This is a conditional use application. This is a public hearing in the town of Sand Lake, conditional use permit number 25-046. Owner D&J Anchuk, operator Glacier Rock Supply, Inc. This is part of the Northwest One Quarter of the Northwest One Quarter and part of the Northwest One Quarter of the Northwest One Quarter, both in section 15, township 38 north, range 9 west. Tax ID 27935 and 2734. Property is a total of 15 acres of the combined properties, both zoned agricultural 1. Permit is desired for the 5-year renewal of conditional use permit number 20-025 that was originally approved on December 18th of 2020 for the location operation of a non-metallic mineral extraction operation, including rock crusher. Conditional use permit was approved at a public hearing again on December 18th of, or the original conditional use permit was approved on December 18th, 2015. There's 15 total acres with 12 allowable acres to be mined, with 7 acres currently being mined. As part of my staff report, again, this is for the 5-year renewal. The existing use in this area is one other gravel pit, woodland area, and some light mixed residential. The nearest residence is approximately 250 feet away. The owner and operator of this pit had previously had a written agreement from the nearest resident that would allow crushing to be closer than 1,000 feet away. Prior to any additional crushing within this pit, the Sawyer County Zoning and Conservation Department would request a copy of the agreement to waive the 1,000-foot setback requirement. This is stated as per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 6.23, Parent 3, Parent D. There are no additional complaints on file for this conditional use permit gravel pit. The current normal hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday during the months of April through November. Crushing operations are specified and to be amended by the operator as to be 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with a 30-minute warm-up and shutdown time prior to and after the specified hours, not to exceed 4 weeks per calendar year with no Sundays or holiday crushing. Financial assurance has been received in the form of a bond. Again, as part of the conditions as listed as part of my staff report would be to maintain compliance with NR 135, maintain compliance with the plan of operation as to the specified hours of operation and crushing durations, maintain compliance with the Department of Natural Resources, Chapter 30, that all other town, county, state, and federal laws are followed, and that the conditional use permit goes with the property. If the property changes hands before the next renewal, the new owner must complete a non-metallic mineral transfer form to acknowledge that the new operator would still be following the current plan of operations, conditions, and reclamation plan. As by action of the town board, motion was approved. Robert Langham, town chair, Michael Ruscio, supervisor. We do not have any objections. Signed, Elaine Nyberg, town clerk. There were 3 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received. That is all.
Hey, thanks, Jake. All right, I need a motion to go in public hearing on CUP number 25-046, please.
Yes, sir,
Mr. Schuman.
Chairman, I'll make that motion that we go on a public hearing.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman, a second by Mr. Karianen to go into public hearing on CUP number 25-046. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. We are now in public hearing. Is the applicant here? Now, you want to come up and talk, speak to the committee there, state your name and address, please?
Oh, good morning. I'm Don Anchuk, owner and operator of the pit out there in Sand Lake Township. And it's a beautiful morning. Nice drive up here. So, no, I don't have any issues. I talked to one neighbor that's real close a couple weeks ago, and he's great with everything, and just want to move on for another year or 5 years.
And you're okay with the hours of operation?
Yeah, that's what they changed. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
And I think they got the crushing down to 4 weeks or something, but I'd like to have that in writing, so I have that and put it in my records. You know, if you could send me something.
Yeah, as part of any decision made by the committee today, you'd be receiving a notification of that decision, and it would include the specific conditions.
Okay. All right, no problem.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant here?
When you talk to that neighbor, he was going to grant a written agreement for the crushing to occur closer than the 1,000 feet?
It's in the records already.
Okay. I thought you said when we had talked previously that you were going to try to get that updated with him. I know we do have a copy, but it's fairly
Okay.
older one.
That was the original one back in whatever the first year was.
Yep.
And he has no issues verbally, and I don't see any reason why it should be updated. It's,
Yeah, I know if that property has ever changed hands, though, you would have to get a new one from
Yeah.
that new owner. So just keep that in mind. Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, I put a tree line in there with trees are up probably 10, 12 feet already. So pine trees, so.
Okay. Do you have a question? Oh, okay. Mr. Magnuson, you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right.
Hey, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right. Does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this CUP? Anyone want to speak in opposition of this CUP? All right, I need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-046, please.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it,
We have a
Chairman.
motion by Mr. Karianen and a second by Mr. Schuman to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-046. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action, Town of Sand Lake, conditional use permit number 25-046, owner D&J Anchuk. Legal description is previously read into record. This conditional use permit is for the 5-year renewal of CUP 20-025. With keeping in mind any decision, the conditions is listed in my staff report and findings of facts.
Okay, committee?
Yeah, I just got a question for Jay, Chairman.
Yes.
Jay, so this is a 5-year renewal. Would we also want to have that signed agreement with that neighbor since it is a new renewal?
Yeah, and I
I
believe
mean, that
in
could
conversation.
be a condition we could put on or not?
It certainly could be, and probably something that probably should be. I believe he had a written agreement in his records. I don't know if we had that though. So if you have that record, if you could send it, that agreement. Don, if you have that agreement from the neighbor, if you can provide us a copy for our records, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Right,
So you could certainly list that as an additional condition. Yep.
okay, committee. What's your preference?
All right, Chairman, I'll make a motion then that we approve this conditional use permit number 25-046 with the conditions listed in Jay's staff report. I would also like to add that we get that signed copy from the neighbor that's allowing that crushing closer than the 1,000-foot minimum. And that findings of facts to approve. Which ones would not apply? You see any K that wouldn't apply?
Just say 1, 2, 3, 7.
Findings of facts, 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Sure.
With those
Good deal.
findings of facts,
Okay.
motion to approve.
All right,
I'll second that.
didn't we have a second on that? No? All right, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman, a second by Mr. Magnuson to approve the CUP number 25-046 with Jay's reports and the findings of fact. Any more discussion? If not, Kathy, can we have a roll call, please?
Ron Buckholz,
Yes.
Dale Magnuson,
Yes.
Kay Wilson,
Yeah.
Tweed Schuman,
Yes.
Steve Karianen,
Yes.
all in favor. Thank you.
All right,
Moving on, this is a public hearing in the town of Bass Lake, conditional use permit number 25-049, owner Paul Munson, agent Terry Walsh, part of government lot 6, lot 1 of tax ID 3783. It is 6.29 total acres zoned residential recreational 1. Permit is desired for a home salon business servicing clients and selling retail items as per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 17.2, Parent B, Parent 4. As part of my staff report, the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to operate a home salon business. The salon would be located in a separate space as part of the existing dwelling located on the property. The sewer system sizing has already been conducted by the Sawyer County Zoning and Conservation Department. A salon use as defined as Department of Safety and Professional Service is slightly less gallons per day equivalent as to a 1-bedroom sewer system sizing. There's currently a sanitary permit on file with the Zoning and Conservation Department that shows 2 existing septic tanks on the property and 1 common soil absorption system. As part of this change of use to a salon, an additional county sanitary permit would be required to show this change of use, but the existing sewer system, if the CUP is approved, would appear to have the adequate and proper sizing for the proposed use. The current owner's wife, Terry Walsh, would be the individual holding the Department of Safety and Professional Service licensing. That license number is listed and is currently active as an active status as a cosmetologist. The applicant would be aware that they may be required to provide documentation for liability insurance for the business, as well as documentation relating to approved business as the Wisconsin Department of Revenue, Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions, and DSPS. If the CUP is approved, the CUP should run directly with the current property owner and not be transferable. We also look at the comprehensive plans. So generally, comprehensive plans are viewed as guidelines for future land uses as it relates to potential rezones. However, it is important to mention that the Sawyer County Comprehensive Plan with this particular request would be consistent with the goals of economic development, as it would create an environment that promotes job creation and self-proprietor and retentions through the management of planned growth in a manner that enhances the quality of life for current and future residents. As part of the potential conditions as listed in my staff report, we listed that the hours of operation be by appointment only, Tuesday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. The owner is to register the business with the Department of Financial Institutions and obtain and hold the proper licensing through DSPS, which they currently do. Register for taxes with the Wisconsin Department of Revenue and acquire business insurance. These potential conditions are requirements through other state agencies. The business use is not to be conducted until documentation is provided to the Sawyer County Zoning and Conservation Department supporting these requirements are met. If there's to be any additional signage on the property, all signage must meet the Sawyer County zoning ordinance requirements. That a sanitary county permit be required for the change of use to the salon use. That the conditional use permit with the current, go with the current owner of the property, and that all other town, county, state, and federal laws are followed. We did receive some additional comments from adjacent property owners. And before I get into those, one of the other conditions that I would probably want to list in here as a late addition would be that all parking for the salon use be entirely held on that individual's property. There is an easement road that goes back to additional lots. And there was concerns that we received, and I'll read into record here as well, that they were concerned that if there was being additional parking on the easement road, it could potentially block their access. So I would make a further condition that there'd be no easement road parking as part of this. By action of the town board, motion was approved. Justin Hall, chairman, Marshall Savitsky, supervisor, Dave Albart, supervisor, Jim Evans, supervisor, Don Adams, supervisor. Conditional use would not be contrary to public interest and would be in compliance with the spirit of the zoning ordinance because it would not be damaging to the rights of others or property values, detrimental to ecology, wildlife, wetlands, or shorelands. It would not create topographical problems. Occupancy must be listed contingent to approval of notification of neighbors. See attached, Tammy Brown. There is no attached. Let me reread that. That didn't make any sense. Occupancy must be listed contingent to approval of notification of neighbors. We have already notified the adjacent property owners within 300 feet. We do have, I believe, one individual here, and we did get a late addition. Where did that go? The email. Oh, sure. We sent out 8 additional notification letters to adjacent property owners. 2 additional comments were received. We approve of your request to have an in-home salon and hope that the arrangement of working from home will work well for you. Ben and Debbie Hershey. And then we have an additional comment about the parking aspects. Hello, my name is James Sindlinger, resident of 7758 Lightning Lane. Lightning Lane is a private drive and not a public road. This conditional use permit leading to a commercial mixed use permit. This permit required should include a parking lot for the new business. Number 2, this person of interest has an issue keeping this private drive clear. There's been multiple times that I've asked them to move multiple vehicles. So as a homeowner that lives past this residence to get home, they provided an additional video, and you can see that there was several vehicles parked on the easement road. So they had had trouble in the past getting to their private residence. Number 3, I don't care if they have a business in their home, but I want to guarantee that they will not block the road with their customers' vehicles. Number 4, I want them to maintain the road from their house to the hard top road. Currently, I clear the snow from my house to the hard top. They have never attempted to clear the road more than their parking lot. I'm not going to be responsible for road maintenance on land I do not own, let alone a business that I'm not making money from. Number 5, I saw that they added a new porch and deck to the front of their house. Is that ADA compliant? As a member of the local fire department and an active employee of Sawyer County Ambulance Service, I feel they need to have available access to their house and others that live past the house. James Slendlinger from the town of Bassett. That is all.
Oh, okay, thanks, Jake. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 25-049, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Miss Wilson. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And a second by Mr. Karanen to go into public hearing on CUP number 25-049. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing on CUP number 25-049. All right,
Am I supposed to speak?
Yeah, go ahead. State your name for the record, please.
Oh, Terry Walsh, 7748 North Thunder Point Road. I am a longstanding business owner in the Sawyer County area for 24 years. I sold my business last year and I'm looking to put my business in my home due to the fact that my husband has had some health issues and I'd like to be at home with him during the duration of the rest of my career. I'm just here applying for a conditional use permit in order to continue working out of my home. I'm not exactly sure what else you would like for me to say at this point.
Can you speak to any of the road issues? As far as, I guess I do have some concerns that, if this is a private easement road and you're having additional people travel down, off of Thunder Point, which is a town road, and that, I don't know, a couple hundred feet of Lightning Lane. I mean, as a neighbor that also lives on an easement road, I guess I would appreciate that, you would be responsible for the maintenance of that section then, because you're increasing that traffic flow.
So there has been some contention with us and that neighbor since that neighbor had moved in there. We never had any issues prior to that. Sue Miller used to live there and there was never any complaints whatsoever from Sue Miller as far as that's concerned. They also have 2 young children and they have a son who also comes down that road very fast and our driveway is very, very short going to that road. Typically when we're out there walking the dog and you come around the corner, he comes up pretty fast. So it's a dangerous situation and we've made them aware of that. Also his son at the end of the road will peel out and you can see the lines coming out on the blacktop. And at the end of the road, there's continual potholes all year long. So I don't know what else to say to that other than I'm sorry that there are those issues between us. But as far as us having cars parked in that area, typically we've had cars parked there only because we've had company. It isn't because of any other reason other than people visiting us. I would never have anybody park down there as far as my business goes because it would be too treacherous for some of those people to even walk up that way. There's a hill there. It's always pretty icy and slippery in the wintertime. We've never had an issue as far as maintaining the road prior to them taking care of the plowing. It used to be Teresa and Mark. I have a hard time pronouncing their last name. Do you know? He's a contractor. They just moved and sold their house. So they kind of took over the maintenance of it. at one point in time, we also tried to put together an association in order to maintain the road. And they typically, the other neighbor has declined to join that kind of what do you want to call it? The association for repairing the road. So we've never really had any issues until this neighbor moved in as of a few years back. So
So you're okay with all the licensings and no parking on the road for your business? Are you okay with all that?
oh, absolutely. I have elderly people that come and see me. I would never want them to walk on that road ever or park down there.
Right, and one of the things I guess you mentioned is like, you said when you have company over, that is what required or caused your personal vehicles to be parked on the easement road. I guess I would have some concerns that wouldn't be hopefully the same case then with the salon use, that, you know,
No, our
that
personal,
that
okay,
the
my,
salon business clientele aren't parking on it, but because they're parking in your driveway or your parking area, that then you're forced to park on the easement road, because that is a slippery slope there.
okay, the only time that our cars have been parked on there is because we've had people there working on the house. It was never for company, or someone was coming in and moving something out of there. It was never for anything other than that. We've never parked our cars out there because we've had company. We've always tried to park our cars in the garage or off to the side where we have like a little driveway that goes, actually, it's like a little driveway that goes around the house, because we have a sub basement down there where we store things. So it's an easy access for there. But typically, we've never parked our car out on the easement other than to move things around. And it just so happened, maybe he came in through that day. And then there was one other time where we had movers come in, and it was late at night, and he was very, very not very nice about the whole thing, and pretty much almost scared me to death by he was pounding on the door. And when I opened up the door, he used profanity and told me to move my effing vehicle, which I had no idea it was blocking it, because it was dark outside and I didn't know what was going on out there. My husband was working with these people. So I I don't know what else to say to that other than there's a lot of contention between us for whatever reason.
All right, thanks.
Mhm.
I guess when we do this, we'll just have to put that parking in the back there. So. No parking on the road, and that's about all we could do with it, ain't it, Jay?
Yeah, you can certainly list that as a condition. I mean, if you're applying for a business type of use for the salon, and that could be a condition, and if that issue was to continue to occur, we could revoke the conditional use permit. So I do think that is a condition that can certainly be added. I know we do have some additional public hearing or additional comments for public hearing, unless you guys have any additional questions from the applicant. I also have Rebecca Roper with a hand raised online.
Rebecca, go ahead.
Thank you. I think Jay's correct. We can talk about the parking issue when we get to the discussion, but I do have some suggestions for the committee of how you can address that.
Okay, all right. So anyone else out there want to speak in favor of this CUP? And we have that Marie?
Rosen?
No. Stand up to the mic, please.
Just of course, by wanting to get some information and also address some things of concerns we have. Mark Rosine, my wife and I live at, actually have a cabin. Sorry, we're part-timers here. 774 North Thunder Point Road, which is the property just adjacent to Terry and Paul's to the north. The neighbors that you're speaking of, as stated before, that drive that Thunder Point Road are down a block or two from Paul and Terry's. We're just adjacent. We do not have to use that lightning lane at this point. We have our own driveway getting in, but so I have some questions for you, Terry. So how many chairs will you be actually supporting in the salon?
It's just myself.
Yourself, okay. So yourself as in one chair?
Right.
Okay. Would there be, in this conditional use permit, would Terry have the ability to hire an employee or two, and all of a sudden this becomes a 2-chair or 3-chair salon?
I mean, the question should be directed to us, to the committee themselves, not to the applicant.
Yep.
I think it is plausible, as well for this committee to, add additional conditions. And one of those conditions would be that this would be as a 1-chair salon.
I think that would be something to actually help us to have a little bit more be in favor of the situation. I'll be honest that on paper, being we're cabin owners, we bought a cabin. We want to use the cabin as a place for some peace and quiet to get away from commercialism. That's the reason that we bought the cabin. So on paper, I'd say we're not in favor of her having a business in her home. But again, God compels us to have compassion for our neighbors. So we certainly do have compassion for Terry and Paul's situation. So we think that it could be a situation under certain conditional uses where we would become more favorable into the situation of her having the business in the home. The one thing that hasn't get spoken or addressed at all is a noise factor. And of course, this isn't a gravel pit or anything like that of a business or anything like that. But what's going to happen here, as you have spoken to before, there is going to be more traffic onto Lightning Lane, which is a dirt road. We can be sitting on our porch, our cabin on the other side of our cabin lakeside. And anytime somebody pulls off Thunder Point Road, the paved road, onto the dirt gravel road, you hear the crunching. And so there's a noise factor that we have a little bit of concern on. Now, keep in mind, we're part-timers there right now. We're up there during the week for vacations and things like that. But in 2 or 3 years from now, I'm going to retire and we're going to be up here more permanent and stuff like that. So one thing to note that we have some concerns of a bit of a noise factor of more traffic pulling onto that gravel road, the crunching, blah, 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 of the gravel road itself. One thing that out of the discussions that Terry has brought up and even Mr. Sindlinger has brought up was the fact of Lightning Lane. It's a private drive, so it's a single lane road, almost not passable, if you want to use the term. I think Mr. Sindlinger described it as when he was asking her to move vehicles. It's not passable technically when you have cars coming at each other. It's very difficult to pass. And also, Terry even brought up the fact too that there is a bit of a slope. There has been potholes and things like that. So as part of the conditional use permit that I may think, excuse me, that you guys may consider is what of the conditional use might be that they pave that portion of Lightning Lane, make it safer, pave their parking lot, which gives them a dedicated spot where those folks are going to park when they come in. Takes care of some of the safety issues that have been discussed about this. Also takes care of our concern of a noise factor of cars driving on Lightning Lane.
Can you finish up here quickly, sir?
Yes, no problem. I have to say that I think we're very happy that it's not transferable. You answered that question already, that somebody coming in can't transfer and become a big business. At this point, we're certainly in favor of it, but for some conditional things that you have brought up and that I've also brought up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, anyone else out there want to speak in favor? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition to the CUP? Okay, need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-049.
I'll make that motion, Chairman, that we come out of public hearing.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman,
I'll second that.
and a second by Mr. Kariainen to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-049. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action, Town of Bass Lake conditional use permit 25-049. Owner Paul Munson, agent Terry Walsh as the operator. Legal description is previously read into record. The request is for a in-home salon business servicing clients and selling retail items as the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 17.2, Parent B, Parent 4. We heard, quite a bit of unique testimony here on this conditional use permit case. I would have the committee keep in mind some of the potential conditions that we heard of. I know legal counsel had also some ideas there. I think, definitely 2 additional conditions outside of the 6 that I have listed in my staff report, and I can certainly bring those back up here as well. But I think one of the added conditions that you would probably want to place on here after hearing additional testimony would be that no parking is allowed within the easement road, and that it would be a 1-chair salon. From there, you can have additional comments or discussion about potential of paving. I mean, that the paving of that amount is, it's a pretty big expense. That's $20,000+ to probably pave that, but you can have those additional conversations as well.
Okay, committee, before we go, I want to hear Rebecca on this. Before we discuss this.
Sure, thank you. To Jay's first suggestion, additional condition of no parking on the easement road, I would respectfully suggest not that as a condition. The reason being, I don't think it's appropriate for the county to become an enforcer of a private easement. If there are contention between neighbors, the binding document is that private easement document, and that is between the neighbors. If we use that as a condition, I do not want to create an opportunity for the county to become the enforcer of that private easement agreement. So what I would recommend is a condition that states, where did I have that? That parking shall comply with applicable laws. County is responsible for enforcing the laws. So if there is an applicable law, then the county can step in and be the enforcer. So that would be my suggestion on the parking point. With respect to the other conditions that were mentioned in the public comment, just a reminder that each condition must be supported by substantial evidence, which is facts and information other than purely preferences or speculation directly pertaining to the requirements and conditions that an applicant must meet. So I think that some of the conditions or the recommended conditions you heard would be supported by substantial evidence, including the 1-chair, if you will. And then if you have questions about the other suggested conditions from the public comments, I'd be happy to address those if you're considering including those additional conditions. Thank you.
Chairman, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Chairman, I got a question again for the applicant. And it's in regards to limiting you to 1 chair. I know the times that I've gotten my hair cut, whether it be a salon or a barber shop, usually there's another chair, someone's waiting on getting their hair dried or something's happening over there while they trim up somebody else's hair. So I want to know, to the applicant, are you okay with 1 chair, or what are you thinking?
Well, when I first opened up my salon in town, I actually had a salon in my home. It had a conditional use permit, and it wasn't conducive to my lifestyle. I didn't want other people in my home. So I would never add another chair to my salon ever again and have people have use of my home. Like if you're talking about another employee, if you're concerned about that, I don't want other people in my home other than my clients, and that would be it. I'm getting to a point where, in my life, I just don't want any more responsibility other than for myself. So there would never, ever be anybody else other than myself in there and a client at the same time. And the way that I operate on 1 client at a time. I very seldom do 2 people at the same time. That's just not how I work or ever have worked.
I guess you're going to be just doing that on an appointment basis?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I guess they don't know how many people you would get down that road at one time on an appointment basis, but,
How many clients are you looking at having?
What, a day?
Sure.
Well, that would vary depending on what type of services they're getting. You know, I could have, if I did a haircut, if I had a day where I just did haircuts all day, it would be, you know, from 9 to 5. That would be 8 people. If I had, you know, haircuts and colors all day, which is kind of pretty much what it is most of the time, it could be anywhere between 4, or it could be 5. It just depends on how my schedule is.
Sure. And I guess I just have one additional question. Are you, I have the conditions up on the screen. I don't know if you can see the shared screen that we have up there. So we have those 6 conditions listed, and there's 2 additional ones that it sounds like would be potentially added here, and maybe even another one. But one of them would be that parking to follow all applicable laws, and that it would be limited to a 1-chair salon. Are you agreeable to those said conditions?
Absolutely.
okay.
Chairman, I wonder if rather than 1-chair salon, if it could be 1 operator salon.
Sure.
So that Terry could have a chair that she was working on, and then maybe a pedicure chair or something, so that it wasn't just.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not versed in the salon lingo. I thought 1 chair meant that it is one operator. There's only one
Yeah.
stylist. I mean, you could have
Yeah.
a little chair in a waiting room.
Well, for a spouse.
Right. Or yes, or maybe someone drove them there and they're, reading a magazine. It's not just you're physically limited to 1 chair. It's 1 salon stylist that's allowed. That I thought that was the lingo, but maybe I'm confused.
Yes, you're correct on that. That is the lingo.
Then I was wondering about parking. Could we say that parking would be limited to the property only?
Well, there again, I mean, their property extends into the easement, and I think that's where some of Rebecca's concerns was that parking to just follow applicable laws. If there's other laws that, as part of any, easement documentation that doesn't allow for parking in the easement, because most of them would, because it's to allow ingress and egress, and if you're blocking, you're not allowing ingress and egress. So I would probably just keep it the follow the laws of parking, applicable laws.
All right, committee.
Then, Terry, are you comfortable with people coming into your home to use the bathroom? I don't see a dedicated bathroom for the salon. And
So
is
the
that
bathroom,
necessary?
the bathroom is right next door, right
Yeah,
next.
but you have to go into your public space.
Not really. I mean, they come into the entryway, and then the bathroom is right next to the entryway, and then the salon area would be right next to that. Yep. So, and then, I mean, they would just be walking from the entryway over into the salon area. I mean, the space that they would walk into would be like a very small area of my kitchen. That would be it.
And that isn't a requirement that they have a dedicated bathroom for the salon?
Well, she is dedicating that bathroom as to the salon. That's correct? That's kind of the
Yes.
salon's bathroom then? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's
kind of
move on with this. So it's up to the committee. What do you want to do with this? What's your preference? Don't be afraid.
I'll make a
Well-
motion to approve that CUP.
Would there be those added conditions of parking to
Yes.
follow applicable laws, and that it'd be limited to a 1-chair salon, which is commonly referred to as a 1 stylist,
Yes.
1 operator?
Yes.
And then findings of facts as well. Mr. Magnuson, please.
Yep. I don't have that right in front of me. Can you move the screen down so I can see it there? Finding the facts. Where is it?
I have it up on the shared screen now there.
There, I can see it, yeah. One. Um, uh, I think just one is the only one that might be appropriate.
We should have more than one, Mr. Meigs.
One.
Find another one or two.
Encourage planned and orderly land use, I guess two. Protect property values and.
So we want to put that condition on parking that applies with applicable laws?
Yep, he added it.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, okay, I guess I did.
And
All
the
right.
one share,
Okay. All right.
along with the other ones, the six, yeah.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson. Do I have a second?
You do, sir. I'll second that motion. I'm just waiting if he found any more findings of facts.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you done with your finding of facts, Mr. Magnuson?
Oh, here I see seven, yeah. Yeah, sorry about it. I can't see the stuff on the computer.
Okay, all right.
Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah, seven, I guess, and right adequately. Okay. Yeah, that should do it, I guess. Yep.
D, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson, second by Mr. Schuman to approve the CUP number 25-049. Any more discussion? Right, all in favor, say aye. No, no, we're gonna do the roll call. Sorry, my fault. Roll call, Kathy. Sorry,
That's all right.
I'm gonna leave you out.
Dale Magnuson,
Yes.
Kay Wilson,
Yes.
Ron Buckhold,
Yes.
Steve Carrionen,
Yes.
Tweed Schuman,
Yes.
all in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a conditional, or the public hearing of the town of Coudray, conditional use permit number 25-050, owners Sima Living Trust, Sean and Mary Sima as trustees. Part of government lot 2 of lot 19 of CSM number 8484, tax ID 23923. There's 1.7 total acres zoned residential recreational 1. Permit is desired for a garage of 24 feet by 26 feet with 10-foot sidewalls, which would equal 16 feet in height. This is as per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 1 and Parent 3. This would have automatic conditions, as the request would be for an accessory structure on vacant land to be granted a 3-year time frame in which to build a primary dwelling, and that the proposed accessory structure would be located on the opposite side of a town road from where the primary dwelling is to be located. As per my staff report, again, this request is allowing for the placement of an accessory structure on vacant land with being granted a 3-year time frame in which to take out additional permits to build the primary or habitable dwelling. And that said habitable and primary dwelling would be built within that permit timeframes. In conversations with the applicant, they're wanting to build a house soon, but need a place to store belongings prior to the house being constructed. Committee should also address the additional request for section 4.26 parent 3, which is that the placement of the primary dwelling will be on the opposite side of the public roadway from where the accessory structure is being proposed. This is kind of a hybrid conditional use permit request. The accessory structure is proposed on the non-lakeside portion from where the primary dwelling is to be located due to smaller buildable area requirements on that lakeshore side, as well as limiting the impervious surface impacts near the lake. Size of the detached accessory structure is to be 24 feet by 26 feet. And then meet all applicable setbacks, including the setbacks from Jonans Road, which is a town road. As part of conditions was listed in the staff report, the land use permit is required within 12 months of the conditional use permit approval for the accessory structure, that a land use permit is required and applied for the principal structure within 3 years from the date of the zoning committee's decision. Failure to apply will result in citations, potential order of correction and removal of the accessory building. That the proposed accessory structure to meet all other Sawyer County zoning and conservation requirements, including setbacks, and also compliant with all other town, county, state, and federal laws. And that the size of the accessory structure not to exceed 624 square feet. And I did bump that up to less than 18 feet in height. It may not contain any habitable living area. So generally, I mean, someone could say, oh, I want to go, 25 by 22. And as long as they're under the 624 square feet and under 18 feet in height, give them a little bit more flexibility on the height. But again, no habitable living area As per action of the town board, motion was approved. James Bath, chairman, Phil Miles, supervisor, Jeff Honey, supervisor. No additional comments, signed Charlie Warner, town clerk. 7 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received. That is all.
All right, thanks, Jake. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 25-050, please.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
second it,
Mr.
Chairman.
Karianen and second by Mr. Schuman. We go into public hearing on CUP number 25-050. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing on CUP number 25-050. Is the applicants here? You want to step forward, state your name and talk to the committee.
My name is Sean Sima. And like Jay had outlined, we would like to build a garage across the road from our future dwelling on Jonans Road. And so we're primarily building it so we can stage our building materials and our personal effects in the garage while we're building the new cabin next summer. And so that's primarily what we're here for.
All right. Any questions?
And Jay, you said you were gonna add one more to your staff report. I don't see it on here. Is it something about on which side of the road he's gonna put the garage
Oh,
on?
it's a hybrid request, so it's 2
Hybrid, you
items.
said?
Yeah, it's a 2-item approval of the conditional use permit. One is that it's an accessory structure on vacant land and being granted a 3-year time frame to build the primary dwelling.
Sure.
And number 2 is that the proposed location of the accessory structure is gonna be on the opposite side of the town road from where the future dwelling is being located. So I didn't want you to approve a conditional use permit for an accessory structure on vacant land. And then he comes back in another, 18 months, takes out the permit to build the house now. When the house is on the other side of the road, well, why are you coming back again already? Why don't we just handle this in one shot?
Okay, sure.
And that's included as part of the approval. It's for 4.26 parent 1 and parent 3.
Got it.
And-
You're agreeable, sorry, Kate. You're agreeable, sir, to all these requirements,
Yes.
Jay has down here in this, okay, thank you.
And that property is one
It
property?
is, yep.
Are you going to have any water in that garage, bathroom?
No.
Okay. Anyone else have questions? Mr. Magnuson, you got any questions for the applicant?
No, sir.
All right,
I should note too, we have seen, I believe it's been 3 other requests on this portion of Jonans Road for accessory structures across town road, and all 3 have been approved previously.
okay, thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, anyone out there want to speak in favor of this CUP? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition of the CUP? None, need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-050, please.
So moved.
We have a motion by Ms. Wilson
Second.
and a second by Mr. Karianen to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-050. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We're now out of public hearing.
Did I just give you my agenda? Did I leave the agenda in there? Oh. Let me borrow this. I don't know where I put the thing. I lost it. This is a public hearing for the Sugar Bush, excuse me, public hearing for the Sugar Bush Phase 2 Final County Subdivision Plat for a 4-lot proposal.
No.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. That's why I'm all screwed up. I lost my agenda and this was happening.
Yes,
This is a discussion action, the town of Coudray, conditional use permit number 25-050, owners, Sima Living Trust. Legal description is previously read into record. Permit is desired for a detached accessory structure across the town road and also being granted a 3-year time frame in which to build the primary dwelling. This is per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances. Appendix D, section 4.26, parent 1 and parent 3. Keeping in mind listing of conditions and findings of facts as part of my staff report.
I'll make a motion to approve 25-050 with the conditions listed 1 through 4 and findings of fact to promote public health, safety, convenience, and general welfare, to encourage planned and orderly land use development, protect property values and property tax base, and encourage uses of land and other natural resources which are in accordance with their character and adaptability. 1, 2, 3, and 7.
And I'll second
We
that.
have a motion by Ms. Wilson
And I would second that.
and a second by Mr. Schuman to approve the CUP number 25-050. Any more discussion? Roll call, Kathy, please.
Kay Wilson.
Yeah.
Tweet Schuman.
Yes.
Dale Magnuson.
Yes.
Steve Carrianen.
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
All in favor. Thank you.
Now we can do a final plat review. This is public hearing, the Sugar Bush Phase 2 Final County Subdivision Plat for a 4-lot proposal. This is located in the town of Bass Lake, owner Trace Mullen. This requires zoning committee acceptance, conditional acceptance, or rejection. Couple months ago, the committee heard the prelim plat approval. Again, this was a larger tract of land in which a 4-lot certified survey map was done. Out of that 4-lot certified survey map, one of those lots was intentionally kept larger, in which they then did a 7-lot county subdivision plat. Out of that 7-lot county subdivision plat, 2 of those lots were kept a little bit larger, and they are now wishing to split those 2 lots into 4 new lots. This would result in 12 total lots from the original parent property. Again, the specific request of phase 2 is for 4 new lots. The lots subject to the request have no wetland complexes that exist on them, and the lots already have private road dedications to them. This is per the Sawyer County Subdivision Ordinance and County Code of Ordinances, Appendix C. I myself and the county surveyor have reviewed the final plat and have deemed it to be in compliance with the applicable ordinances. All roads as part of this subdivision are to remain as private roads. The original subdivider would have already been required as for a stormwater management plan from the original road creation. Only additional county grading permits would be required for the earth disturbance in excess of 10,000 square feet or over 2,000 square feet on slopes in excess of 12%. Soil tests have already been conducted on adjacent lots within the original plat and have shown suitable soils for conventional systems. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee approved the preliminary plat with no other conditions. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee can still do the following, or would need to do one of the following. That would be to approve the final plat, conditionally approve the final plat, table the decision pending additional information, or reject the plat due to unsuitable land use and afford the subdivider the opportunity to present additional evidence for such suitability. I, again, myself have deemed the application to be completed. That is all.
Okay, thanks, Jay.
Town did approve as well. It would not be contrary to public interest and would be in compliance with the spirit of the zoning ordinance because it would not be damaging the rights of others' property values. It would not be detrimental to ecology, wildlife, wetlands, and shorelands. It would not create an air quality, water supply pollution problem. It would not create traffic or highway access problems. Signed, Tammy Brown, Town Clerk. There were 4 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners as part of this request. 0 additional comments were received. That is all.
All right, excuse me. I need a motion to go into public hearing on Sugar Bush Phase 2 Final County Division Plat for 4-lot proposal.
I'll make that motion, Chairman.
We have a motion by
Public
Mr.
hearing.
Schuman
I will second
and a second by Mr. Gannon to go into public hearing for the Sugar Bush Phase 2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing. Is the applicant here?
Good morning, Trace Mullen, box 528 Hayward. You're seeking approval of this said agenda. And I did have a question, Jay, about the email I just got.
I emailed you?
923 or fees associated with it? I just want to make sure if that has to be happen prior to final approval or if that's.
It'd be as part of the recording process. So there are additional fees for the plat itself as well as recording fees to have it recorded with the Register of Deeds. So outside of that, I mean, this is the committee's time to either approve the plat or table or condition the plat. But yeah, there'd be additional fees to the zoning department as well as the Register of Deeds prior to final recording. So, and we can certainly address those at a different time. Yep.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
No, I guess I have a question for Jay though. Are there any conditions we want to put on this approval, Jay? This requires zoning committee conditional acceptance. Or
It can,
acceptance.
right. So
What, have you mentioned any conditions now?
I have not, and nothing was mentioned in the prelim as well. So if you think back to the preserve ones that we had done in the past, one
Yeah.
of those that we wanted to see was, prior approval of DNR stormwater management.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I didn't hear anything about that with.
Right, and this one, really wouldn't be required of it because the larger road complex that was created by Paul Danzig to get to these lots would have already required that approval. This would be one where, if Trace is looking at developing on these lots and doing, excess land clearing, there'd still be additional county grading permits, but that doesn't have to be referenced in this plat. I myself
Sure.
would not be looking at any conditional approvals would be needed in this one.
All right, the chairman, I'll make a motion then that we.
We're in public.
Oh, public
hearing.
hearing, sorry.
All right, thank you, sir. Does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this Sugar Bush Phase 2? Okay, Jenny, go ahead.
Actually, I just have a question. Having gone through this with the preserve and with other developments with final plats, I thought there was a provision that you can't subdivide a subdivision without a waiting period of 5 years. Does that apply in this case?
No, so you are not able to create additional certified survey map lots and do lot creations through a certified survey map within a 5-year timeframe. That is why the applicant is having to go through the county subdivision plat process together in all. So again, similarly, you have one main parent lot. That main parent lot can be split into 4 separate lots within a 5-year timeframe. If it exceeds that amount, that's what triggers the county subdivision plat process. So there's nothing against state statutes that require or mandate that you can't further split that through a county subdivision plat process. They wouldn't be able to do it via a certified survey map though.
Okay, I believe you, but that sounds like a loophole because frankly, the county subdivision ordinance says you can't subdivide a subdivision unless you wait the 5 years.
A minor subdivision being as a certified survey map. And I mean, we have legal counsel on you. I don't know, I'm gonna pitch it out to Rebecca. Are you aware of any of that you can't do a plat within a 5-year?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the easy answer is yes, you can. I mean, I have not reviewed the county ordinance in detail recently, but I can tell you that Chapter 236 clearly allows for subdivisions of plats. And I think if the county ordinance somehow prohibited that in some way, I don't think that would be enforceable because it would be preempted by Chapter 236. But Jay, your explanation with respect to the prohibition on 5 lots in 5 years on conditional use permits is correct. But again, easy answer is yes, you can subdivide subdivisions as long as they meet the definition of a subdivision under Chapter 236.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, anyone else out there want to speak in favor? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition? Not need a motion to come out of public hearing for Sugar Bush Phase 2.
Well, I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. We come out of public hearing.
Okay,
I'll second that.
we have a motion by Mr. Schuman, second by Mr. Gannon to come out of public hearing on Sugar Bush Phase 2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
Discussion action for Sugar Bush Phase 2 Final County Subdivision Plat for a 4-lot proposal located in the town of Bass Lake. Owner Trace Mullins. This requires zoning committee acceptance, conditional acceptance, or rejection.
Okay, committee.
Okay, Chairman, I got this. I'll make a motion that we approve, accept the Sugar Bush Phase 2 Final County Subdivision Plat for 4-lot proposal as presented.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Mr. Magnuson to approve the Sugar Bush Phase 2. Any more discussion? Roll call, Kathy, please.
Tweet Schuman.
Yes.
Dale Magnuson.
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Steve Carriennen.
Yes.
Kay Wilson. All in favor. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll get back to the proposed ordinance amendment.
By Mr. Buckles.
All right, we are, I already got it, Mike. Should be good. We are back in session. The proposed ordinance amendment. This is a public hearing. The Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, an amendment to Section 2.0 definitions and Section 6.610, Parent 1 and Parent 2 for trailer camps and campgrounds. The proposed ordinance amendment is a reference to camping cabins within licensed campgrounds, as well as percentage of park model trailers. The proposed ordinance amendments reference as to option F. At last month's meeting, the committee had wanted to send out a poll to the towns as to what percentage of combined park model and camping cabins should be applicable in these licensed campgrounds. We did get that information back from the towns. The town of Bass Lake, ultimately, polls are a little bit difficult, right? So if it's a town that has, 3 members versus a town that has 5 members, the polls might be a little bit skewed. So ultimately, the way I formulated it to the towns is I wanted them as a motion of their majority vote on a specific percentage amount, 30, 50, or 100%. Town of Bass Lake, 30%. Town of Coudray, 30%. Town of Draper, 30%. Town of Edgewater, 100%. Town of Hayward, we didn't get back. Town of Hayward was 30%. They voted. Okay.
It was 30%.
The town of Hayward voted 30% as a majority of the town board supervisor. Town of Hunter, 30%. Town of Glenroot, 30%. Town of Meadowbrook, 30%. Town of Meteor, 30%. Town of Ojibwa, 30%. Town of Radisson, 100%. Town of Round Lake was split votes across it. There were some that wanted 30, some that wanted 50, some that wanted 100. Town of Sand Lake, 30%. Did not receive information back from the town of Spider Lake, although this proposed camping ordinance amendment would not be applicable to the town of Spider Lake, so that's kind of a moot point. Town of Weirgor, 50%. Town of Winter, 30%. So the overwhelming majority of the town poll responses that we had gotten back would like to see a 30% limitation on the total number of permitted sites and licensed campgrounds dedicated to park model trailers and camping cabins as a combined amount. Again, this is a public hearing again for the proposed ordinance amendment. Now, ultimately, if this committee takes into consideration the 30% limitation as poll sourced from the towns, it would be the exact same ordinance that had gone to the County Board of Supervisors previously, and then the county board had implemented a different percentage, which then again came back as a resolution of disapproval from the towns. And we're here today with that information. So I'll leave it up to this committee as to what you want to do. Again, this is as an official public hearing, so you'd want to take any additional comments or testimony from the general public.
All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on Sawyer County's code option F.
Yes, sir, Chairman. I'll make a motion. We go into public hearing.
Great. We have a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
All second.
Second by Mr. Keranen to go into public hearing on this option F. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing. So, who wants to speak? Go ahead, Jenny.
Jenny Chaback, 10363 McLean Road. Good morning, members of the zoning committee, residents, and attendees. I'm speaking to you on behalf of a growing number of residents and landowners who are deeply concerned about the current direction of our county's environmental policies. It's becoming increasingly apparent that there is a significant disconnect between the board's decisions and the wishes of those who work and live in Sawyer County. Case in point, camper cabins. This is an example of a small group of very specific special interests working to drive our zoning code and process off the rails 3 times now. I just can't believe it. And this is an example of the resolve of the towns within Sawyer County to put it back on track. You can see that the towns are taking this very seriously and they're not waffling. The idea that there is no problem with turning campgrounds into trailer parks conflicts with existing zoning regulations in multiple areas of the code. I take exception to the idea that was presented in August 27th edition of the Sawyer County Record to send this issue back to the zoning committee so that people understand it better. Let's be clear about who is doing the work and understanding the implications of this proposed zoning change. It's the town planning commissions and the town boards. They understand the potential impacts of putting dwellings in campgrounds. The zoning committees tried to follow the process and the town's recommendation. I would be stunned if anyone changed their vote in favor of no limitation or 50% limitation at this point in the process. 30% is likely too much when you consider that camper cabins are dwellings, not campers. And they're going to be placed in sensitive areas permanently, tied to utilities as impervious surfaces. The latest effort to take a straw poll is meant to undermine the democratic process. What else could be the point of asking the towns to respond in this way? The potential exists for this type of dwelling to be considered allowable outside of campgrounds. Again, that's a conflict with existing zoning code. And for what purpose? So that the people who manufacture them have a market? The argument has been made in recent years that Sawyer County needs more campgrounds. And has that changed? Now we don't need more campgrounds, but we need more trailer parks. Why? To increase population density in sensitive areas for financial benefit? Many of our residents have chosen this county for its natural beauty and the promise of a healthy, sustainable environment. Unfortunately, recent actions and proposals from the board suggest that the voices of those who prioritize environmental protection are not being adequately heard or considered. Decisions are being made that not only threaten our local ecosystems, but also undermine the trust and relationship between the board and the community. The towns have limited rights in county zoning. That's been explained by county council. Residents rely on the county to work together with the towns. I respectfully ask that you reconsider your approach to make committee and board members understand and instead follow the input from the community before making decisions that affect our natural resources and our future. And now I'd like to change hats, if I may, and make a separate statement as a representative of the Town of Round Lake Plan Commission. We've had several discussions in our Plan Commission meetings based on this issue and in the Town of Round Lake, and all of the discussions on the topic, the commission members voiced concern about the verbiage as it is presented, specifically the definitions. It is unclear what is different about a camper cabin and a park model, who owns what, who rents what, why one has wheels and one is on a slab, et cetera. What do we do about the property taxes? Looking beyond the percentage question, the zoning change is not ready to go to the county board without specific and additional clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner, and I want to read to you what the chairman of the town of Edgewater sent me after their vote. You may all know that Pete Baraboo has a campground, so to speak, with more park-like model type units with permanent screened-in porches with roofs. And he said, "We voted 100% for park models, but not on camping cabins. I don't remember exactly what we put for the verbiage, but all three of us had questions about the camping cabins, questions about impervious surface and the definition of camping cabins." Now, you did not hear all the comments that were included on the town forms. I know that the previous time that this went to the Edgewater Town Board, they did not agree with the slabs and they had questions about camping cabins. So I think between the two different town surveys or opinions that went out, the zoning committee received a lot of feedback about questions. I agree almost 100% with Jenny, but I think, again, this is something that deserves adequate time, not at the end of a meeting. But it seems what's happened as things have evolved is you have a campground and you have a mobile home park. And all of a sudden, when you have park models and camping cabins hooked up to full utilities, you have something that has the environmental impact potentially of a seasonal mobile home park and no longer the camping impact that your zoning ordinance currently addresses. So the public health, safety, and welfare concerns that need to be addressed are impervious surfaces, density of the number of those units in the shoreland, 1,000 feet from a lake and 300 feet from a stream, because you can get far more of these units as into an area that you could only put one dwelling. Pout sizing by state standards is inadequate at only 30 gallons per day, whereas many other states have 100 gallons per day. So all those public health, safety, and welfare issues are probably what needs to be put into the campground area of your zoning ordinance. And things like the 30% limitation don't belong in definition. That is where it is now. And so I think if anything would move forward is not changing camping cabins or giving them additional impervious surfaces or utilities until you address those other things. But I think the 30% puts it back in the ordinance where most people believe that it should have been. And even when the county spent, I think it was a year back in 2021, giving greater deck sizes and things, nobody at that time objected to the 30% limitation, and it was in there, and nobody said a word. And that came before this committee, some of before your time, but I know Mr. Buckholz and probably Mr. Schuman were here. Nobody questioned the 30%. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else out there wishing to speak? Cecil? No? Mr. Robinson, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Don Robinson. I own Lake Chippewa Campground. I live at 15024 Highway, W Highway B in Hayward, Wisconsin. I've owned Lake Chippewa Campground. This will be our 40th year coming up. I've heard a lot of things over the past months coming here or whatever that are not necessarily true or that there isn't any much understanding of. First of all, I agree with some of the ladies here that have already spoken. There needs to be some definitions. What is a campground and what is a camper? When I was at some of these meetings, particularly at the town level, I was told or heard that if you weren't dragging a tent out into the woods someplace, you were not a camper. So all these people that have park models and motorhomes and trailers and pop-ups and all, you're not a camper, and I don't know what you are then. So, and times have changed, and they're continuing to change, just like the logging industry. We no longer log with horses and so on. Camping industry is changing. And people's demands, they don't go to a certain particular place for a lot of them for any length of time, nor do they invest a large amount of money in a camping unit when they may only use it for a weekend or for a week to stay with relatives and friends. So you have to look at it differently than you used to look at it. And for the average person, 5 acres and a cabin in the woods is as valuable and personal and wholesome as somebody that owns 1,000 acres and puts a cabin on it. The trouble is they either don't have the money for 1,000 acres or they don't spend that much time at that particular thing. But why are we trying to limit? The state of Wisconsin has camper cabins because certain people with disabilities need to have different access and different whatever. Now, I've owned my campground a long time, and it would have been much easier for me to just subdivide and sell out and get out, but I am dedicated to public access and having something for the public to be able to use, and I think it's good for Sawyer County. So I think one of the things you need to do is you really need to find out is what is a camper? I don't have a problem with, if everybody wants to be 100% seasonal, they may be a trailer park. They may not be a campground. That's something I think somebody probably needs to decide. But is the zoning, this 30%, a small property with a farm or whatever it is, and he can add, say, 4 or 5 campsites or whatever to increase his income so he can survive in this ever increasing expensively world that we live in? Why are we trying to deny somebody like that? I mean, there's little places they maybe have a couple horses, or they have a little lake, or they have no lake. It just may be a place out in the woods. And I'll tell you, 5 acres in the woods, even if you have a trailer, is precious to most of these people. And some of them just don't have the money to invest in big parcels of land and can build on a lake with $1 million homes or 500,000. They've mentioned the fact that we're in this for the money. Let me tell you, if you were in for the money, you would have sold out a long time ago. We have invested more money in this campground business than you can even imagine, most of you, because you don't understand the business. So that's what I have to say about it.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
Hello,
Oh,
I'm Jill Robinson. I'm Don's daughter. I've worked at Lake Chippewa Campground almost 40 years. I'm only 55 years old. That's been my entire life. I am curious, and I'd like people to think about the fact that you were very happy to forward the agenda for the Sugar Bush, which is creating more homes on the lake. Everybody voted in favor. No criticism. We need homes. Where do those people come from? Do you know how many people who have had seasonal sites at our campground that have become permanent residents in this town? Many. All those people that are buying homes here are tourists to start with. They come here, they see the beauty of the area, and they invest. And they make this place better. There are definitions of camper cabins, park models, mobile homes. They're out there. If you choose to be educated, they are there. We don't need to do this again. This has been decided. Your lawyer knew what the answer was to all of this stuff. Part of the confusion, and I will say this again, and I say it every time, divide the camper cabin issue from the park model sites. They aren't related. They're two different things. Maybe if you had one here and one there, we could get some decisions made. It's getting frustrating. I'm tired. I've gone through an entire season here. And now I'm back here again. Thank you for your time.
thank you. Anyone else? Now's your time to speak.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Your
say,
name and address, please.
Dave is my neighbor.
He lives out in front of me. I've been I've been up here for 39 years. And it was all dilapidated. And he built a beautiful place there. He remodeled everything, so it's not an eyesore anymore.
This is a public hearing for the proposed campground ordinance amendment.
Pardon me?
This is the proposed campground
Campground.
ordinance amendment.
Oh, well, whatever, but I'm just saying, I might as well finish. I see no reason why it can't be left the way it was. Everything's changing up here. That's not all for the better. This is for the better. He changed things for the better.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Not need a motion to come out of public hearing on Sawyer County Code of Ordinances.
Make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Wilson, a second by Mr. Schuman to come out of the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
So it's the discussion possible action to send to the County Board of Supervisors for the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D. This is amendment to Section 2 of the definitions and Section 6.610, Parent 1 and Parent 2 for trailer camps and campgrounds.
Gee, just question, how many of those towns sent comments back?
Yeah, several. Town of Bass Lake, comment was the town has already voted to the 30% and sent in a resolution stating as such. There should have been no reason for the county to remove it. Town of Coudray, we would like a percentage less than 30%. Town of Edgewater, the board would have preferred this to be two separate action items, one for park models and one for camping cabins. Town of Hunter, our comprehensive plan commission met, recommended a 30% option. We stand behind our resolution of disapproval that was previously sent. Mike Bandro for the town of Leonard, Michael Bando voted no because he feels that park model trailers and camping cabin allowable should be less than 30%. Town of Meteor, it is our understanding that state regulations caps the percentage at 30%. This is Town of Meteor. I've never seen a cap in state legislation. Other comments, concerns, utility requirements not addressed, such as septic and water, tax implications, which I again have always and continuously stated, whether it's for campgrounds and or for private land camping. I think one of the larger pushes that should be made at a state legislation process is to get some type of assessed value on campers. I mean, campers on private land are using county resources for roads and emergency services and police services, and yet they're not paying any fair share of tax in that they are not assessed an improvement value. And that's just my little 2 cents. Town Plan Commission would like to see a final formal draft of full ordinance for the towns to vote on. That is something we can further discuss here as part of discussion action. Town of Round Lake, board reviewed the Sawyer County Zoning Committee poll regarding the proposed amendments, establishing a limit of the combined total percentage. The Land Use Planning Commission previously recommended supporting option F at a 30% limitation, emphasizing the importance of managing density, protecting environmentally sensitive areas, and maintaining consistency within existing zoning goals. During discussion, Chairman Strandland stated that the 30% limit appropriately balances the responsible development with environmental protection and community expectations. Super Wilson agreed, nothing that a lower limit help preserve the town's rural character and reduces potential strain on local infrastructure. Supervisor Jensen and Raybreck supported a 50% limitation, explaining that a moderate increase would allow campground flexibility to adjust the market's demands while still maintaining reasonable density and protecting local natural resources. Both emphasize that campground operations are an important part of the local economy and should have some ability to evolve responsibly. Supervisor Palmer supported a 100% limit, stating that the private property owners should have full discretion to determine how to develop and manage their campground sites, provided they comply with existing zoning, health, and environmental regulations. So 2 for 30, 2 for 50, 1 for 100% from Town of Round Lake. Town of Sand Lake, we would like to see these addressed as cottages or cabins if hooked up to sewer, water, electric, and a cement slab. That is from the Town of Sand Lake. And those were the comments that we received from the town as part of the poll option.
So, I know when this went to the county board previously, I was just kind of amazed that the county board didn't follow the committee of jurisdiction on zoning. And they seem to not care what the town's input was on it. And usually, since I've been on the board, we've usually followed what the committee of jurisdiction approved or not approved. And the county board usually went along with what the towns have decided. So with that being said, I guess I don't understand where that's coming from on the county board side, but I think when we send this back, I'm not sure
Right.
what's gonna happen there. So I guess I want to hear from the committee too.
Ron,
Yeah.
I think you should repeat that at the county board level, exactly what you just said. Because I think that is very, very, very important.
I will do that.
And Chairman Jay, there's multiple amendments within this ordinance, right? That the town has seen and approved, and the only one they seem to have trouble with, or the only one the county board had trouble with, was the 30%.
Correct, and that's really.
And
why
the
we put that-
30% has come from a lot of, I think initially from Bass Lake. They did a lot of work on that and research and evidence-based, and decided that 30% was a good number for a campground.
Yeah, and this has been, on all different sides of this spectrum, right? There's some that would say that we should not have any types of park model trailers or camping cabins in campgrounds, period. You have the other side that says we should have 100% the allowable percentage for all camping cabins or all park model trailers. And so it's been very difficult to try to find some type of happy medium. One of the things that I've potentially at least envisioned, and that got brought up a little bit at last month, and this would be something, as part of potentially a comprehensive rewrite process, where potentially an off-water situation. I wouldn't want this on shoreline because I would be concerned about the density aspects of something like that. But having a separate, not necessarily call it a campground, not necessarily call it a mobile home park, but have something that would be a new separate item that would allow for like a tiny house park or a park model trailer park, something that would be similar to a mobile home park, but again, not on water. And if someone was really wanting to explore that type of development plan or operation, we could get it into a specific zone district, have specific conditions tied to it. But I think there would be at least some type of process for those that are wanting to do a strictly like park model park or a lower income housing park. There could potentially be an opportunity in the future for something like that. That's not where we're at today, not to confuse you guys right now, but it's just something that I've thought about that, maybe that is more of a palatable thing long-term, especially when we look at, strategic planning. And one of the aspects of strategic planning that the board had identified was for affordable housing opportunities. I think one of those affordable housing opportunities would be to allow tiny houses or camping cabins or something that would be as a full year seasonal development pattern in a tight knit type of community group, and call it a park model park or a tiny house park. Again, off water, different zone districts, just a thought.
Go ahead, Mr. Carey.
One thing I think I've heard a couple of times this morning is the possibility of splitting the camping cabin from the park model trailer issue. Is that something we could look at?
I mean, we should have done that probably from the start. I mean, it was unfortunate that during the same time as the initial request came in to look at the standards of the camping cabins and the allowance of the gas, water and sewer, at that same time that 30% limitation that was not properly adopted was then discovered by myself. And it was like whoops type of situation. Like, this was never put in here. We should either try to get it back in now because it was never properly adopted. And they do deal with the same elements within that section of the ordinance. So at that point, I did kind of put them together. That was probably my error. We probably should have kept them separately. But once it was observed, I wanted to bring it up to the committee right away and say, I mean, do you guys want to address this at this time? So we've come full circle on this thing. This has been a long road. I don't know if we'd want to split this out now just because we've come this far. I think, the last hurdle, at least from what I've seen from the majority of the town responses, as well as the resolutions of disapprovals, was really just on the percentage. And if we can move this forward to county board and get the percentage as to what this committee decides, keeping in information if they retain from the towns, I think we're there. It'll be interesting to see what happens at county board though. Yes.
Well, listening to your comments from the towns, there wasn't a whole lot of feedback on anything disapproving. But the majority of the towns want the 30%. And me being as a town board member, I agree with the 30%. And I think we should stay with what we got. I mean, I read what Mr. Kieran said, and I heard Mr. Robinson or somebody else out there say the same thing, that camping cabins and park model trailers, they have two separate meanings. So, but if we had to do that now, then we'd have to redo the whole thing and send it all the way back to the towns again. And that's just not feasible. That's just too much money's going to be involved there, time and different things through zoning.
Mr. Chairman.
And the county board and the zoning committee.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The amenities of a camping cabin and a park model, by this definition, are identical. So I don't feel that there's any reason to separate them.
Okay.
The only thing is they're wheels and one's on a slab. And so I think that there's a reason that they can be kept combined.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ron?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Magnuson.
Yeah, I agree there with Jay there, and you, that, we need to move this forward. The towns want looks like the majority wants the 30%. And, so we should move this forward, I believe. That was I agree with that comment of Jay's there about maybe doing a separate ordinance in the future on a tiny house park or something for lower cost housing for people in a county that's not on water like he was suggesting. But I believe we got to move this forward today. We've been kicking it around long enough at the 30% that the towns want.
Are you making a motion to send it to the county board then?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to send it to the county board for the second time for approval at the 30%.
And that's as presented with the 30% limitation?
Correct.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson and a second by Mr. Schuman to send option F back to the county board with the 30% limitation. Any more
Chairman, can we
discussion?
also say with a recommendation from the zoning committee to
Yes.
approve?
Yes,
That used to be attached to some motions too,
exactly.
as recommended by the committee of jurisdiction.
Right. Got that? Okay, any more?
Are you good with that,
discussion,
Mr.
Gary?
Anderson?
My question is, what are the implications to existing campgrounds that are maybe over the 30%?
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca?
Rebecca, yeah.
Because the 30% was not properly codified in the ordinances before. Right now, there is no 30% in the ordinance. So it's 100%. And for existing users, the question becomes whether it's a non-conforming use. To answer that question, we'd have to go back to each conditional use approval and determine whether any percent limitation was based on the faulty ordinance or if it was based on some other legitimate reason. So easy answer is it's hard to say. And it's a very complicated issue. And this is why it is so important that our ordinances are codified properly. And what the text of the ordinance says matches what the governing body approved.
That didn't help you very much, Mr. Gary. did it?
So that, again, the easy response is ones that were previously approved with 100%.
Unless a further condition was stated of a 30% limitation.
Right. Not based though on the ordinance text, which was faulty.
I mean, do we have in Citrus County
Campgrounds?
like that are?
I mean, really it would be ones that had come in effect since the 2016 ad hoc or 2017 ad hoc committee in which recommended that original 30%. I'd have to do some digging, but there's probably over 12 at least that I can think of off the top of my head. One of them being the largest campground, which is currently being built, be it the Hayward National Campground. Which I've looked through that conditional use permit and that one did not have a specific 30% limitation. It referenced the section of the ordinance that needs to comply with all the requirements of section 6.6, but 6.6 didn't have a 30%. The only time, at least the previous error in the ordinance, was in the definitions. That's where, again, you're not really supposed to have regulatory action within a definition. It should be in more the meat or sections of the ordinance. So that, again, is why it's listed here as well as part of the requirements in 6.6 now.
So I guess I'm wondering when we send this back to the county board for their approval or whatever, I'm just wondering, is this those already that are out there above the 100%? Are we going to be opening up another can of worms?
That's
Yes.
exactly my question, yes.
Using the example that Jay just mentioned, I think you said it was was it Hayward National?
That's what I call it. I don't know, remember what their official campground name is, but
Okay,
it was the Hayward National Golf Course. I mean, everyone kind of knows where that area is.
Got it. So using that information that Jay's just articulated, that conditional use permit did not specifically reference the 30%. It specifically referenced a portion of the zoning code, but now we know that portion of the zoning code was in error. So I would conclude that Hayward National has 100%. They do not have a 30% limitation.
They are still licensed as a campground, so there's still operational dates of a campground. They aren't to be full-time living areas. I mean, that helps. They're still under campground provisions. And the other thing is if they were to ever come back in and want to do a new conditional use permit to potentially expand additional sites, at that point, you could implement additional conditions, including but not limited to 30% for all existing sites. I don't know if that's necessary. I don't know if you could do that, but
yeah,
it's something you could look at. So I'm not that fearful that, you know, we see this rush then of other campgrounds that are going to go full to 100% on park models. I don't think that's the direction. They just wanted to have that flexibility. But it also helps that the existing campgrounds out there, if they wanted to expand sites moving forward, there could be additional conditions that be placed on them as a whole.
Yeah, because I would just like to get this And I agree with Mr. Magnuson to move it on to the county board. See if we can get them to approve it and be done with it, because it's been kicked around a lot here. And I know for a fact that the towns are getting tired of getting these and having to put it on their agendas and to go over them again for the same thing that we already know. So with that, we have a motion and a second on the floor to send this option F with the 30% back to the Sawyer County Board. Any more discussion?
Can I make a comment or ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So those definitions in section 2.0, those originated from the state, correct? Does it make sense to have the limitations within the definitions? I think you touched on
I
this.
put them in both sections so that you would see it in both places referenced. Now, having it just in the definition wouldn't really meet the merit test, but I specifically put it in both for duplicity portion, just so that everyone is aware that there's a 30%.
Well, the point I'm making is, should we pull it out of the definition so that we're keeping state definitions, and then having it within 6.610, have the limitations there? Does that change anything?
I mean, it would be a change as to what current option F is listed as. I know Rebecca and I talked about that a little bit. I think that was one of her comments as well, but I guess I kind of articulated that I kind of want it in both, just so that people see and reference it in both, that someone's not just looking at a definition and says, oh, I can have a park model trailer. Well, keep reading. You can have a park model trailer in a licensed campground, and that campground is limited to 30%. Furthermore, go to section 6.610 and read the other requirements of trailer camps and campgrounds. And there again, it references the 30%. I did it intentionally so that you see it in multiple spots. Yes, at that point, then it doesn't reflect true state definitions, but I think we're a little bit unique and I wanted it shown in those both spots.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Jay, can I just respond to that briefly as well? Perhaps I misunderstood Mr. Markern's question, but the definition in state statute, camping cabin is defined in state statute. It's also defined in the administrative code. It does not include a 30%. Park model is defined not in the camping statute, but it's defined in other sections of the statute. But it is defined in the administrative code. It does not include a 30%. I am not aware of any sort of 30% limitation in the state statutes or in case law. Now, that being said, that does not mean that the county doesn't have the ability to add the 30%. But if the goal is to stay consistent with state definitions, your definition would not include the 30%, because the 30% does not appear in state statute or the administrative code.
That is the point I was trying to make, yeah.
Okay. All right.
We have a motion. And a second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor, and there's no more discussion. Okay, ready for the roll call, Kathy?
Here we go. Ron Buckholz,
Yes.
Kay Wilson.
Yeah.
Dale Magnuson,
Yes.
Tweed Schuman,
Yes.
Steve Carrianen,
Yes.
all in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business. We have our listed potential 2026 zoning committee meeting dates. We have kept it consistent for next year. This would then be every third Friday of the month at 8:30 a.m. One of the dates we always look to is the November timeframe, and whether it conflicts with gun deer season or close to Thanksgiving. That is not the case for 2026, so it'd be the Friday before gun deer season. So every month's regularly scheduled public hearing date is being proposed as the third Friday of the month. we would need a motion to approve these dates unless there was some additional discussion or changes that you guys wanted to see.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Well, okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the the 2026 zoning committee meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved.
All right, moving on. We have the citation ordinance amendment process. So I have this listed as discussion, possible action to send to the towns. I'm sending this to the towns in just that, I mean, it is currently really kind of found as a zoning ordinance. It's the zoning citation ordinance, which is then further listed in the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances. So just so that I'm not running afoul of keeping the towns involved, I would be, wanting to send this out to the towns. So we have the proposed edit versions and the red line versions. So what I've done for this is I've updated the section references as to our current working citation ordinance. A lot of these section references were referencing the old zoning code and not referencing the county code of ordinances. So we wanted to make sure that it is reading through the county code of ordinances. And then also looking to increase every citation deposit amount $100 additionally. Again, those are just the deposit amounts. There are other fees associated to citations for court cost. There's a cheat sheet I have in my office. So a $350 citation kind of goes to like $527 after you add on all these other court costs. And that would be what they would, if found guilty, would need to pay back to the court. So this is my recommendation. The zoning committee can take that, change it, move it on, whatever you guys want to do.
Mike, excuse me, Jay, Mike, this is what you read too at the county board last night too, was it? Was this one or was that a different one?
No, so that's our fee schedule. The fee schedule, which again was already approved by this committee. Those are our permit fees. So, over the counter land use permit fees, sanitary permits, we have looked at and requested an increase in those. That would be effective January 1 of 2026. This is for citations for those that are truly in violation. We generally have a practice of trying to get someone into compliance where they either have to move something, relocate something, fix something. If they still don't do that by an effective date or an order for correction date, then we go to the citation route. And we've issued, I believe we're up to 12 citations this year for violations. So that was one of the things that I had listed as part of our 2025 kind of department protocols or department goals. And that was to have a tougher enforcement aspect. And this is furthering that goal with increasing citation amounts, has more meat and teeth into getting someone into compliance with ordinances.
I assume it's been quite some time since these have been updated.
It has.
Okay.
I'll make a motion then that we move this ordinance amendment on to the towns.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Mr. Keinen to approve the citation, the ordinance here to send it on to the towns. Any more discussion?
I think that people are going to look at these fines as the cost of doing business. I don't think they're high enough. I think that they need to be significant for somebody to not abide by the law.
Yeah, and generally, I would somewhat agree. I mean, these are slaps on the wrist to certain degrees, but not only do the citation deposit amounts need to be paid, there would also be then a recommendation to the judge, which is also implemented. So if someone was to do filling, grading, excavating within a buffer zone, not only are they getting the citation, but then they have to correct and fix that. There's a specific situation I'm thinking of on Placid Lake where they did receive a citation for shoreline clearing. They have paid the full citation amount and they are now having to revegetate and plant 7 additional trees of at least 4 feet in height within that disturbed area. So yes, it is a slap on the wrist, cost of doing business, but also comes with additional things they need to do. It's not pay your ticket and get to move on and carry on with your life. It's pay your ticket and still fix your screw up.
Good words, Jay.
Yeah, if we want
Yeah,
to raise these
yeah,
even more, I mean, that's fine. I just did $100 increase. We could do a $200, $300 increase across the board.
Comment.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was good sentences.
Yeah, and this is just the draft version, you know, we would have an hold still an official public hearing on this still, and I would propose that as, I guess we could hold it for next month. Unless you'd want to hold off an additional month for a public hearing of it.
No, I'm good.
Can I make a motion to approve this as presented?
Yes. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Citation ordinance?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Second.
Steve, you already seconded, didn't you? Your light flashed.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Magnuson and a second by Mr. Cannon to send the scheduled of deposits, or whatever you want to call it here.
Yep.
The citation ordinance amendment, let's give it the right name, to the towns. Any more discussion on it?
I guess I would
You're
like,
saying two different things. You're saying approval of the citation ordinance and you're saying approve to send it to the towns. What are we approving?
We're approving this to send it to the towns. As presented, okay? Yep.
Didn't I make that motion already, Chairman?
I believe so.
Oh, deal, that's fine.
Dale,
Could I have someone add to that, and maybe Rebecca, clarification from you, but then also to hold a public hearing next month?
on this,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah, so I think what the intent is, and the maker of the motion can clarify, is that you are approving this in the form as it stands to send to the towns. And then next month you will have your public hearing and then go before the board the following month.
Right,
Perfect.
yes. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Send it to the towns. All right.
Next item of new business, and again, this is more of just a general discussion, item. I've gotten several different requests lately for those that are wanting to do apartment complexes or trying to convert an existing commercial building into, multi-living quarters in commercial zone districts. So our commercial zone districts currently don't have, let me back up. Our zoning ordinance doesn't even state apartments. Nothing in the zoning ordinance references apartments. The only time something as a like or similar use to an apartment would be viewed is that word I hate to say, or that phrase I hate to say, multi-dwelling development. That further comes in with the next item of business that we have under this, but I wanted to see, I guess, as a true apartment complex as to kind of what zone districts those should be in. Because if this committee feels that apartment complexes should be either a permitted use or a conditional use permit in certain zone districts, I would almost want to try to fast track that and get that included within the zoning ordinances. Again, this furthers the strategic plan goals of affordable housing opportunities. And if someone wants to convert an existing commercial building and can get it to a residential build standard to have additional apartment complexes, low income abilities for people to stay in, I'm all for it, but need to get your guidance on that. The one request that I've actually received 2 requests now in the last couple weeks. One is for conversion of the upstairs area within the Price Right liquor store to apartment complexes. That property is zoned commercial and they want to make 6 apartment complexes upstairs. There's a large finished off space. They would have to wall off, additional plumbing. They're gonna have to do a lot of work to it. But I thought, what a great opportunity for additional housing opportunities. but it's in a commercial zone district. Commercial zone districts don't list this multi-dwelling development. They don't list apartment complexes, but ironically enough, what they do list as a permitted use is motels. Motels are a permitted use in commercial zone district. Is a motel a like or similar use to an apartment complex? I mean, motels, you're generally having transients, someone staying a couple nights at a time versus, long-term rental, 6-month, 12-month type of lease. But something I need help from this committee to say, well, what kind of direction do we go with? For these people that are wanting to do more residential living in a commercial zone district.
So apartments that are currently in Sawyer County, what zone district are they in?
So majority of the true apartments that I'm aware of are within the city limits, and I don't know what zone districts they're in. I could look to see what the city zone districts are, but I'm not really familiar with any other true apartment complex type living within the county. I do know there was some talks of conversion of the old Edelweiss Motel, which is ironically right across the street from Price Right Liquor. I'd heard, and I don't know if this is true, that they are offering a longer rental of those motel units that are now acting as more of apartment complexes. They also still hold a motel license. There's nothing against someone renting out long-term in a motel. I mean, these are the interesting zoning issues I face on a daily basis. And some of these times I just need help because, I mean, there's a lot of scrutiny that I get put under from certain individuals, and I need help from this committee deciding, I mean, what is the appetite? What is the future, focus that we want to move some of these things to? Otherwise the honest answer is just, nope, can't do it. Sorry, move on.
Hey, Jay,
Yes, go ahead, Dale.
if Price Right Liquor wants to put housing up above their store and they got commercial, they can do it through the motel deal there. And actually then the county inspects it once a year to make sure it meets the codes. So there's nothing wrong with that. They should be able to move ahead and do that. And they can rent them long term. They don't have to rent them for a day. They can rent them by the month. So I don't see what the holdup is, why they just can't move ahead with their project.
It's somewhat, circumventing in that, okay, you're calling it a motel, but you're offering this motel unit, which has its own kitchen facility for long-term rental. It just, I don't know, it doesn't meet the sniff test. Instead, I'd almost like to, if we would go down that route, look at adding apartment complexes as a, either permitted use or use authorized by conditional use permit in a commercial zone district.
That's what I'd like to do.
But being listed as a motel, the county gets to inspect it once a year, and it actually gets inspected much more than an apartment building.
Yeah, well, I think, commercial zone districts, if we're gonna put apartments in there, I mean, it's housing and Sawyer County is always in need of housing. So I think we should come up with something where we would allow that.
Yeah, I agree, Chairman.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
you
a lot
can
of these
change.
things are pretty common. They come up many
Yes.
times. Jay's brought us things that are just, we should have addressed earlier, but we never thought of it.
Right, and that's
So
where
we're
I'm
not,
hoping.
we're not reinventing the wheel here. I mean, we can,
Yeah.
somebody's
Right.
done this,
Right,
and we had Rebecca or Mike, Mr. Markren could help us.
yeah, and a lot of these issues that, we're continuously facing even with more frequency in the last 5 years, as we've seen this kind of, boom in our community, I hope will be addressed as part of a zoning rewrite process. Because it was stated earlier, I mean, times are changing here.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Rebecca has her hand up.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to briefly comment on the price right proposal to have those apartment units that it is a motel. Let me just read you the state statute or the admin code definition of a hotel. Motel. Motel means a hotel that furnishes on-premise parking for motor vehicles of guests as a part of a room charge without extra cost that is identified as a motel rather than a hotel. Hotel means a place where sleeping accommodations are offered to pay to transients in 5 or more rooms in all related rooms, buildings, and areas. So the question is whether the proposal at Price Right would meet these definitions. And before the county approves that proposal as hotel motel, let's have a discussion because I have legal concerns with that.
Vic? Yeah.
So taking this information, I'll talk with legal about the aspects of, can you call something a long-term motel, which seems like she has some issues. But at the same time, would this committee want to see draft language of the commercial zone district under a permitted use or a conditional use permit that apartment complexes be added?
Yes.
Now, if and when I bring that draft version back, I would probably do it as of next month. Would you want to see it listed as a permitted use or as a conditional use permit?
My preference would be conditional use.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Next we have, again, that word I hate to say, multi-dwelling development. Want to give some updates on where the multi-dwelling development ad hoc committee is. We have had several meetings as part of the multi-dwelling ad hoc committee meeting and really kind of broke away from the ad hoc pending legal counsel review. Legal counsel had some concerns with the draft language that was being proposed. I was working on kind of coming up with some solutions of those. We were looking at getting the ad hoc committee back together and addressing those issues and kind of moving forward with these corrections to multi-dwelling development. And then right in the mix of that, we got slammed with this Assembly Bill, now called Assembly Bill 449, that is moving through state legislation. Assembly Bill 449 would allow for what is known as accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units are basically houses that are like a mother-in-law suite. So you have your main primary residence. You would also then be allowed to have a second dwelling on the property as long as it's no larger than the first dwelling on the property. It would be allowed in any zone district across shoreland zone districts, as long as you meet all other county setback provisions and impervious surface standards. And it could have independent living quarters. So not even talking about like our temporary guest quarters. So this Assembly Bill is through the state right now. It's also been earmarked to be fast-tracked as to part of the housing crisis package is what it got tied onto. If this Assembly Bill moves forward and gets approved into law, all the work the multi-dwelling development ad hoc committee has done is going to start right back from square one, because the multi-dwelling ad hoc committee had made its recommendations that you'd only be allowed one dwelling unit per lot. An accessory dwelling unit on this lot is going to have huge ramifications and implications. We also then would need to get ahead and address the aspects of dual rentals of those buildings as far as tourist rooming house aspects are concerned, and whether or not those would meet the definition of a resort or not a resort. So at this point, if people are wondering what is the status of that multi-dwelling ad hoc committee, where is that stuff moving? Why is Jay not getting this information back to us? I'm trying to hold this off until we know what happens with Assembly Bill 449. Because if this gets put into law, we are back to square one. And why bring the ad hoc committee back here now, try to fix all things, and then this gets signed into law and we just did all that work for naught again. So that's where my mentality is at on it. I know Rebecca wanted to speak a little bit about it as well, to just inform the zoning committee of that. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, briefly, as you all may know, Andy and I are general counsel for the Wisconsin Counties Association. The Wisconsin Counties Association has been very involved with this housing bill package. I testified in front of the committee, one of the committees of the Assembly in Madison a few weeks ago, and articulated some of the County Code Association concerns – on these bills, including this accessory dwelling bill. Jay is correct that it is fast-tracked more than any other legislation that I've experienced in my 15 years in working on these issues. And it very well could be passed into law. Obviously, it has to go through the formal voting process, but it's signs are there that it's going to move forward. And so I recommended to Jay that, again, because of the legal concerns that I identified in the draft, before I spend the county's money in putting those into memo form or doing a formal briefing or report to ad hoc, it makes sense to see what is going to happen with this legislation. Because Jay is correct. If this legislation passes, it is going to completely change the work that the ad hoc committee has done, what your ordinances say, and the implications that we have been discussing for a very, very long time. From that standpoint, I guess it makes it easier because at that point, the county will be preempted and we will have to follow the state rules. But it's fair for me to say that the new state legislation will create issues for many counties. And so that is why WCA has been involved in the process.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, that was your update, unless you have any questions on that.
No, I don't. I have, Jay, I kind of talked to Rebecca about this morning on my way up here, and I would like for you or Kathy to put on next month's agenda for discussion only, SUPs. Just kind of brief the committee on everything, what it's about, and why it don't have to come to the zoning committee, and just so everybody's on a page of what it is.
Okay. There was one other potential new business item. You all had received an email here this morning from Ms. Zilmer. I did make responses to that email. I don't know if you wanted to further discuss it, but her concerns as part of the email was that there is a potential of a mix, commercial and residential use as part of the storage condo units that are currently in production or being built out by the casino off of Highway K. Those buildings were permitted as storage buildings, but also permitted as to be compliant with all other permitted commercial zone district requirements. Those other commercial zone district requirements would allow for shops, stores, offices. I have talked to the realtor as part of that project and have always been upfront and addressed my concerns that if you are going to include habitable living area in those buildings, we have issues. At that point, you would need to get into a planned unit development because you have this mixing of commercial use and residential use. They have continuously told me that that is not their intent. These are to be storage buildings and office spaces. So I still see them as permitted uses until such time that we actually find or have true evidence that they're habitable dwellings. I have no concerns at this point. Even as part of the photos that were, shown as part of that email, the bathrooms appear to be ADA compliant. Mr. Markern actually brought up a good point. Those bathrooms, as listed in the photos, don't have shower facilities or bathtubs. There are no, full kitchen arrangements that are associated in. There are no walled off bedroom areas that I can see from any of those photos. So at this point, I have no evidence to support that there is to be any habitable area included in that. And I have also reached out to the realtor and the owner. They do have a condo declaration that they are going to eventually be recording with the register of deeds as they sell these as individual condo units. And they have told me that within their condo declaration, it also further prohibits habitable living area in these buildings. So I don't know if you want to, it was asked that it be as a separate agenda item next month, and I will leave it up to this committee to see if they want to further adjust this.
I would take a look at it. Okay.
For discussion only or?
Discussion only.
Sure.
Deep. Mr. Magnuson,
Yes, yes,
did you hear what Jay was saying?
yes.
Okay.
I got something, Chairman, regarding new business. We're on the verge of approving our 26 budget for the county. And I know there's money in there, and Mr. Markin, you can let us know what that is, to rewrite or redo our zoning ordinances, correct?
Correct.
And what is that amount? Has Jay in this committee, 100,000?
100,000 in capital improvement
You
plan.
feel pretty confident and that that's gonna be enough, or is that?
Bayfield County has been going through this process. They sent out, what's the acronym, RPO, or RFP? They came back at 85,000. I believe there was some extra add-ons, so they're right anywhere from that 85 to 100. Obviously, we have not put out any bids for any of this work because this would be as more than likely an outside consulting firm that would come in and help us rewrite. 100 was kind of a meet in the middle. If it is to be, we get proposals back and it's going to be 120, we may have to go through and do an amendment to that capital improvement project request. If it's 80, great, we're in the green. But that's why it was put at 100 without further putting out estimates or bids.
RFP and look at this, or there will be an RFP.
Yeah, there are several counties that are going through this rewrite process right now. And yes, we would send out an RFP for this, something like this.
Cause I know last night, I don't know, Jay, you probably didn't watch it, but I brought up the 100,000 for the zoning rewrite and I asked Mr. Martin if there was some other way that we could just look at what we have now and just save money by tweaking what we need to tweak. And he said, well, it would be better to have a different set of eyes looking at it. And I guess I kind of agree with that. Now, I was just wondering if there was a way we could save some of the county some money, so. But either way, I'm fine with whatever.
Thank you.
But I know we need to make some changes somewhere on zoning, so. All right, Mr. Kiriani.
For Jay, Assembly Bill 449, was it?
Yes.
I'm just thinking out loud, does that potentially offer some relief for the folks at the two cabins here that they're stuck with?
Not necessarily. Now, if you had, one cabin on your property and if 449 went through, you could build, a second cabin on that property, meeting all setbacks, again, less square footage than the original. But it doesn't get to the aspects, at least in the Assembly Bill, and this is kind of one of the unknown questions that is conflicting with counties right now, is tourist rooming houses or rental aspects, because that is a different use. The ADU is to be for, like a mother-in-law suite. You could potentially rent out the one unit and not be defined as a resort, but if you rent out 2 units, again, per that circuit court judgment, specifically against this case, is that was viewed as a resort use. And it was resort use is the rental of more than one dwelling unit on one lot. And unfortunately for their circumstances of right now, they can't apply for a conditional use permit to become a licensed resort. So I would recommend to the TOZEX that we contact county administrator and myself, and we set up a separate meeting with legal counsel and even zoning committee chair to see what processes can be put in place to further look at. But with that circuit court judgment, it becomes pretty difficult for the county just to do anything. I mean, some of that was previously tried 2 years ago when I first tried to correct some of the multi-dwelling development aspects myself, and the towns voted no, formed that separate ad hoc committee, and ad hoc committee was not looking at allowing for multiple rentals on one lot unless it was defined as a resort. And then furthermore, they put resort uses just within an RR2 zone district, and the TOZEX are RR1 and surrounded by RR1. But again, I think that's a separate discussion that county administrator, zoning committee chair, and either if other zoning committees want to attend, zoning committee members want to attend, I can certainly reach out. And if you do, we can set up as a true public meeting just for that, not as a public hearing, but a notice of a public meeting.
Yeah, so we don't have a quorum.
Correct.
All right. All right, anything else? Not, I want to thank everybody. We are adjourned.
Oh, Mr. Buckholz.
Yes.
I do. Brief.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to advise the committee that the litigation against the county regarding the Lake District was dismissed. So the county prevailed. I know that this committee is not technically the committee of jurisdiction. However, a great number of the zoning staff worked on this. And I know probably some of you as members of the Land and Water Committee also worked on the Lake District for a long time. So I just wanted to share that, that the case was dismissed and the county prevailed.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
All right, we're adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.